Hey, what's up, everybody? Coach Kyle here, and this will be it's kind of a response to an athlete's question to me, but I thought it was a good topic, so I wanted to make a video of it because I think it's a good topic to discuss for anybody interested, but also this might be easier for me than typing a reply to this athlete. So the question is, if I were to begin cutting dairy from my diet because of continued GI issues, she's had some GI issues lately, would that cut anything important from my diet that I should find other ways to add back in? As far as nut alternative milks go, is one kind better than another? So we have two questions here. Number one is, with the removal of dairy, we're going to consider dairy primarily milk, cheese, and yogurt. Would removing that from a diet potentially cause any issues? And the answer to that is no, not really. Lactose intolerance is a common reason for people to cut out dairy. And primarily with the removal of dairy, you're going to remove some of the protein that you take in. And for people training to the utmost of their abilities, whatever their restrictions may be or goals, if they're training to do the best they can, that protein intake is going to be important. And I like to recommend 100 grams daily in general, very in general, as far as protein intake goes. And for most non-vegetarians, they're eating meat as well. So, I mean, most people probably eat meat at 2 out of 3 meals during the day, for example. And of this, dairy is typically very low. You don't typically base your meal around dairy. It's not the primary calorie intake during the day. So in general, removing dairy is not going to cause any potential issues with the removal. If somebody is having trouble with lactose digestion, then it will make you feel better, which is fantastic. So the next question is, as far as nut milk alternatives go, milk alternatives go, is one kind better than the other? And this is a really interesting question because out there you have soy milk, cashew milk, almond milk, etc. And ironically, almonds, which are very high in protein, almond milk is typically much lower in protein than soy. So you're not going to get, plant milk, I'm going to call it plant milk. Plant-based milk is not a replacement of milk, of animal milk, because animal milk is high in various nutrients, especially protein, and plant milk doesn't have much in it at all. I pretty much, personally, normal plant milk, we're going to just go with soy milk, for example. It's the milk alternative, the plant-based milk, is a way for me to eat granola, my homemade granola. So it's kind of it's like the means for me to eat something more nutritious, something with more calories, more nutrients, etc. So I don't typically, like with milk. You can drink it as a post-workout recovery drink, but with like a glass of almond milk, it's kind of useless. But there's a big but here, and that is I've recently discovered a cashew milk, I believe, from it's from one of the larger, it's Silk, I think. Silk cashew protein milk. But the awesome thing with this, yes, it's protein nut milk. This Silk product has 10 grams of, I believe, pea-based protein per cup. 10 grams per cup is probably higher than cow's milk has, and it's pea-based protein, so that's a great source of protein. I'm really happy they went with pea. And I drink the unsweetened kind, but it's, you can see right here, there it is. And that I drink a cup first thing in the morning, ASAP. With my coffee, I'll just have a cup of this soy milk. So it starts my day with 10 grams of protein. And I end my day with a cup of this as well. So that helps kickstart my day with a cup of protein, and it gets some slow release protein in right before I go to bed at night for my 6 hour, 8 hour fast where I'm sleeping. So this is my favorite. It's not, I'm not sure about if soy, you hear a lot of things about soy and the potential hormone disruption, but I believe that you really have to eat a lot of soy for that to even start to potentially be a problem. But Silk probably went with almond and cashew milk for that very reason, because there's just this fear around soy milk, even if it's not an actual, even if there's actually not a problem. I think they probably went with almond cashew milk just to get away from the soy milk. And that's becoming more common. But this is the milk I go with. A cup of this with a cup of granola, for example, is a pretty good meal. It's nutritious, it's calorie dense. So to fuel the marathon training, that's going to be a good meal. And protein, a gram per protein wise, this might be cheaper than actually a decently priced, decent quality like whey protein, for example. And it's important, that's something else to consider, is that if you're trying to remove dairy from your diet because you have a potential lactose issue, whey protein doesn't have lactose in it. Lactose is the sugar in milk, and the whey protein, that whey protein comes from the cheese making process. So there's no casein in it. There's no lactose in it. So if you have a lactose intolerance, you could still have whey protein and casein protein. So that's something to keep in mind. But in general, removing dairy from your diet isn't going to be an issue. It will probably benefit you if you have an issue with it. And as far as nut milks go, I like the Silk protein nut milk. But in general, most nut milks are pretty devoid of pretty much everything. But this one has actually quite a bit of protein in it, and that's typically what I go with. So that's what I got for this question. It was a good question, so I hope that you find value in this as well. And as always, you keep running, I'll keep coaching.